Hey everyone, welcome back to Evo Health 360. We're diving deep into mental health and wellness strategies today. And it's crazy. 1 in 5 adults actually face mental health challenges every single year.
Yeah, it really puts things into perspective.
It does. And it shows us why we need to talk about this
Absolutely.
and give ourselves the tools and the knowledge to have healthier and happier lives. So many people used to think of mental health as just not having an illness.
I know, I did too.
Right? Like, if I'm not diagnosed with anything, then I'm good. But that's such a limited way to look at it.
It is.
And thankfully, research is really emphasizing that mental health is really about, like, overall well-being.
Yeah.
It's about our ability to, like, kind of bounce back from stress and ultimately how we experience life.
Exactly. It influences everything.
It does. It really does.
Like our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, our relationships, how productive we are at work. It touches every single part of our lives.
Yeah. And when you think about it that way, it's like, wow, this is something we really need to pay attention to. Okay, so how do we actively improve it? Let's look at some strategies.
Okay.
And one that seems to be a really great place to start is mindfulness and meditation.
Right.
I have to say, at first that whole mindfulness thing sounded a little too, I don't know, kind of woo-woo to me.
Yeah, I get that.
But when I actually read about it, the way it's explained here, being present in the moment without judging yourself or your thoughts, it really clicked for me.
It makes sense, right?
It does.
It's about noticing your thoughts and feelings without letting them kind of sweep you away. And the research is amazing.
Oh, yeah?
Studies show mindfulness can reduce your anxiety so much.
Really?
And it helps you focus and think more clearly.
Wow.
And there's even this one study, it found that after just 8 weeks of mindfulness, there were actual changes in the parts of the brain that control stress and emotions.
That's so wild. So it's not just like a feeling. There's actual science happening.
Okay.
Okay, so our source actually gives a really simple mindfulness exercise we could try right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk us through it?
Sure. So first, find a comfy position. And if you want, close your eyes. Now, just pay attention to your breath. Notice how your chest moves as you breathe in and out. You might get distracted by thoughts that pop up, but don't worry, just notice them and let them go without getting caught up in them.
It sounds so simple,
I know, right?
but I can see how just focusing on something as basic as your breath
Yeah.
could help you really be in the present moment.
It's a great way to ground yourself. Just remember, mindfulness is a skill you build over time.
Okay?
So be patient with yourself, especially when you're just starting out. It's totally normal for your mind to wander. Just gently bring your attention back to your breath.
It's like building a habit,
Yeah,
right? Like
it takes
practice.
and consistency.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about calming the mind, but what about the body? That's where our next strategy comes in.
It's
Getting active. I find that even a short walk when I'm stressed can completely change how I feel.
There's a reason for that. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins, and those are natural mood boosters.
Oh, I've heard of those. So they actually interact with our brains.
They do.
And reduce how much we feel pain.
And they also trigger feelings of like happiness and excitement.
Wow, so that's why it feels so good.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not all about happy chemicals, is it?
No, it's not. Exercise also helps you sleep better.
Oh, that's huge. And good sleep is like essential for mental health.
It is. And exercise also gives you a healthy way to deal with stress. Think of your body as a container.
Oh.
And stress is like water filling it up. Physical activity is like a release valve. That helps drain that extra stress away.
That is such a good analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so they say we should aim for at least 30 minutes of movement most days of the week. What are some activities you think our listeners might really enjoy that go beyond the usual walk or jog?
Well, it depends on what you like. Some people find peace in doing things by themselves, like swimming or cycling. Others prefer being in a group, like in a team sport or a dance class. Even gardening or a brisk walk with your dog counts.
Yeah, that's true. I love that.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing yourself into a workout you hate.
Right.
It's about finding something that gets you moving and that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
And, speaking of connecting with others, our next strategy is all about building a strong support system. We all kind of know how important it is to have people we can count on.
We do.
But why is that so crucial for our mental health? Like, what's the science behind it?
Humans are social creatures. We're meant to connect with each other. Sharing our experiences with others, both the good and the bad, helps us process emotions, gain perspective, and feel supported. In fact, studies show people with strong social connections tend to have less anxiety and depression. and they even live longer.
So it's not just about feeling good.
No.
It's impacting our physical health, too.
It affects everything.
That's incredible. Okay, but what if someone has trouble building or keeping relationships? Like, what do they do?
That's a good question. It's important to remember a support system. It doesn't have to look any specific way. It could be close friends and family, a community group, a faith-based organization, a therapist, or even online groups with people who share your interests. There's so many ways to connect.
Yeah, there really are. You know, our source actually gives some great practical ideas.
Like
Reaching out to loved ones, joining groups, even volunteering.
Oh, that's a great one. Helping others is such a good way to connect with people. And you boost your own well-being, too.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
And remember, it takes strength to reach out. It's not a weakness.
Right.
It takes courage to be vulnerable and ask for what you need. So we've lied about calming the mind, moving our bodies, and connecting with others. Our last strategy for today is the power of routine.
Interesting.
I know it might sound surprising, but why is having a routine so good for mental health?
Our brains love predictability. So when we have a routine, it reduces uncertainty and anxiety.
Makes sense.
It's like having a map for your day, which frees up mental space for other things. Routines also help regulate your sleep-wake cycle, which impacts your energy levels and even your hormones.
You know, I find that when I have a regular sleep schedule, I feel so much more energized and focused.
Same here.
But could routine feel restrictive for some people?
Yeah, maybe.
How do you find that balance?
It's about finding a routine that works for you.
Okay.
Not against you. It's not about being super rigid, but more about creating a structure that supports you. Think of it as a flexible framework, not like a set of rules you can't break.
Okay, so what are some key elements of a good routine? Our source mentions consistent sleep times.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Consistent sleep is so important for our physical and mental health. It lets your brain and body recharge and repair. It's like hitting the reset button each night.
And they also talk about making time for self-care. You know, I used to think self-care was all bubble baths and face masks, but it's way more than that.
Right.
It's about anything that nourishes your mind, body, and soul.
It could be reading a book, spending time in nature, listening to music, meditating, connecting with loved ones, or even just taking a few minutes to sit quietly and breathe.
And it doesn't have to be this huge time commitment.
No.
Just small bits of self-care throughout the day can make a big difference. Our source also talks about breaks, which might seem weird, but why is that important?
When we push ourselves without breaks, we can get burnt out. And our productivity actually goes down. It's like running a marathon without drinking any water. Our brains need time to rest and recharge.
So short breaks can help us stay focused and energized.
And less stressed.
So it's not about being lazy.
No.
It's about being smart with our energy. What are some ways people can work these breaks into their day?
Even 5 minutes can make a difference. Get up and stretch. Take a quick walk, do some deep breathing, listen to a calming song, or just step away from your computer and look at something that's not a screen.
I love those practical tips.
Yeah.
It's all about finding those little moments to reset and then come back to what you're doing feeling refreshed.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've covered 4 key strategies today: mindfulness and meditation, getting active, building a support system, and establishing a routine.
Those are great starting points. And the best part is you can adapt them to fit your own needs and what you like.
Yeah, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to mental health.
That's the power of it. You get to experiment and find what works for you.
I love that. It's about taking charge of your mental well-being and finding what nourishes you. We want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay. What small step can you take today to prioritize your mental well-being?
It could be anything, like trying that mindfulness exercise, going for a walk, calling a friend, or setting a regular bedtime. Remember, taking care of your mental health is a journey. It's not about reaching a destination. So be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. There are so many resources out there, both online and in your community. And for more deep dives into these topics, be sure to subscribe to Evo Health 360. You can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Evo Health 360 for daily tips and motivation.
We're here to support you every step of the way.
We're so glad you joined us today for this deep dive into mental health and wellness strategies. Until next time, be well and keep striving for a healthier and happier you.
We'll catch you on the next one.
It really is a journey, isn't it?
It is.
Not a race.
It is.
And speaking of journeys, our sources actually talk about another really interesting part of mental well-being, the power of purpose. Have you noticed how when you feel connected to something bigger than yourself, It can really boost your mood and motivation.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you have this guiding star,
Yeah.
and your everyday actions feel more meaningful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be something huge or life-changing either. It could be something simple like a hobby, volunteering, or even just being present in your relationships.
It's true. I know when I'm feeling kind of lost or unmotivated. I try to remember my values and what I'm working towards, and it helps me refocus.
That makes sense.
But how do we even figure out our purpose? It's such a big question.
It can be. It's often a journey of self-discovery. Sometimes it comes from your passions, sometimes it's about your values, or wanting to make a difference. There's no right or wrong way.
So it's about paying attention to what lights you up,
Yeah.
what feels meaningful and what you're drawn to.
Exactly. It's about listening to those little nudges inside and being open to trying new things. And sometimes purpose actually comes from unexpected challenges.
Oh, interesting. So when we face tough times, we discover strengths we didn't know we had, and we understand ourselves better.
Exactly.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. Like those hard times can help us see what really matters. But it's not always easy to find that positive side when you're struggling, is it?
No, it's not. It's important to remember that setbacks and tough emotions are just a normal part of life.
Yeah. And instead of trying to avoid them, embracing those experiences can actually help us grow and become more resilient.
It's true.
So it's not about pretending everything's perfect
Right.
or trying to be happy all the time. It's about learning how to deal with the ups and downs with grace and self-compassion.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's about being present with all of it, the good and the bad. And when we do that, we create space for deeper meaning and purpose to come through.
I love that.
And it reminds me of something we talked about earlier, building a strong support system. Having people to lean on when things are tough can make such a difference.
It does.
Our sources actually go deeper into this idea
Yeah.
and explore different types of support we can get.
That's fascinating. Different types of support serve different purposes.
Like what?
For example, emotional support from friends and family helps you feel loved and understood.
Yeah.
Informational support from mentors or experts gives you guidance and advice.
Okay.
And tangible support, like help with everyday tasks, can relieve stress and give you more time and energy to focus on what matters most.
Wow. That's a really helpful way to break it down. It's like having different tools for different situations. But how do we know when to seek professional help, like therapy or counseling?
That's a great question. And there's no single answer. But if you're struggling to cope with daily life, or feeling overwhelmed by your emotions, or you notice a big change in your mood or behavior, it might be time to talk to a mental health professional.
It can be really hard to take that first step, though.
I understand.
There's still a lot of stigma around mental health.
You're right. And that's why it's so important to challenge those stigmas and talk openly about mental health.
Yeah. Seeking help is a sign of strength.
It is.
It's not a weakness. It's like investing in your well-being, just like going to the doctor for a checkup.
Exactly.
I like that analogy. It makes it seem more normal and takes away that shame that can prevent people from getting the support they need.
I agree.
Speaking of support, our sources also talk about something really interesting.
What's that?
The power of community. Why is feeling connected to a community so good for our mental health?
Think about it. For most of human history, we lived in close communities, and we relied on each other for support and survival. So those social bonds are a part of who we are.
Wow. When we feel connected to a community, whether it's through shared interests, values, or just a sense of belonging,
It gives us a sense of purpose and belonging.
it's like we're meant to thrive in groups.
We are.
It makes me think of all those community groups out there, book clubs, hiking groups, volunteer organizations, even online forums where people connect over shared passions.
Exactly.
And it's not just about finding people who are like us.
No.
Sometimes the best connections come from people who are different from us. With different backgrounds and perspectives, it challenges us to think differently, broadens our horizons, and helps us grow.
I love that.
So it's about expanding our circle
Yeah.
and embracing the richness that comes from different points of view. But remember, building a community takes time and effort.
It does.
It's about showing up, being yourself, and actively participating. It's about giving back, supporting others, and creating a space where everyone feels welcome and valued.
That sense of belonging is so important.
And it's amazing how all these strategies are connected.
They are.
Mindfulness helps us stay present. Physical activity reduces stress and boosts our mood. Strong social connections give us support and a sense of belonging. Routine creates structure and stability. Purpose gives us direction and meaning. And community creates a sense of belonging and connection.
It's like weaving a tapestry of well-being, thread by thread. Each thread supports and strengthens the others.
I love that analogy. It's not about being perfect in one area.
Right.
It's about taking a holistic approach to mental health
Mm.
that nourishes our whole selves,
Yeah, exactly.
our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. It's about finding what works for you and creating a life that feels aligned with your values and what you want to achieve. And it's a journey, not a destination. So be kind to yourself, celebrate how far you've come, and never stop exploring.
That's beautiful.
Our sources also highlight another amazing aspect of mental well-being, the power of gratitude. Have you ever noticed how focusing on what you're grateful for can change your perspective
Oh.
and make you feel better?
Oh, yeah. Gratitude is like a superpower. It helps you appreciate the good things, even when things are tough.
Yeah.
And there's so much research showing that practicing gratitude can really improve your mental health.
Like what? What does the research say?
Well, studies have found that people who regularly express gratitude are happier, more satisfied with their lives, and more optimistic. They also tend to have stronger relationships, better sleep, and even better physical health.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's like gratitude touches every part of our lives. But how do you actually practice gratitude? Sometimes it can feel a little forced or cheesy.
You're right. It's not about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring the challenges. It's about choosing to focus on the things you appreciate, both big and small. It could be something as simple as enjoying a cup of coffee, noticing the beauty of nature, or thanking someone who made your day a little brighter.
So it's about appreciating those small moments we often miss.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. Our brains are naturally wired to focus on the negative. It's a survival mechanism. But we can train our brains to see the positive by making a conscious effort to focus on gratitude.
It's like working out a muscle.
Yes.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The source suggests keeping a gratitude journal, where you write down a few things you're grateful for each day. Have you ever tried that?
I have, and it's really powerful. It helps you stop and think about the good things, even on tough days. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You can write in a notebook, on your phone, or just make a mental list before you go to sleep.
I love that. It's about finding what works for you and making it a regular part of your routine. Speaking of routine, we've talked a lot about the benefits of structure.
We have.
But our sources also talk about the importance of flexibility and self-compassion. Why is that so important?
Life is full of surprises. Things happen that throw us off track. And that's okay. It's about being able to adapt and adjust without beating yourself up if things don't go exactly as planned.
Yeah.
Self-compassion is key. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend who's struggling.
A good reminder. It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about doing your best.
Yeah.
And being gentle with yourself along the way. Sometimes self-care means resting, saying no to things that drain your energy, and putting your well-being first.
Absolutely.
It's about listening to your body and mind.
Yeah.
And honoring what you need. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a break, recharge, and come back with renewed focus and energy.
I agree.
It's about giving yourself permission to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how all these strategies work together to create a holistic approach to mental health. Mindfulness keeps us grounded. Physical activity releases stress and makes us feel good. Strong connections give us support and belonging. Routine gives us structure and stability. Purpose gives us direction and meaning. Gratitude helps us appreciate what we have. And self-compassion helps us handle challenges with kindness.
It's like building a sanctuary for your mind, brick by brick. Each brick is a choice you make to prioritize your well-being.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about creating a space where you feel safe, supported, and empowered. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress. And keep exploring what works for you.
That's inspiring.
You are not alone on this journey.
You're not.
There are so many resources out there, both online and in your community. And if you're feeling overwhelmed or lost, don't be afraid to reach out for professional help. Therapists and counselors are there to help you
They are.
navigate challenges and learn healthy ways to cope. Remember, you are worthy of love, support, and happiness. As we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question. What's one small act of self-care you can commit to today? It could be anything. Taking a few minutes to meditate, calling a friend, going for a walk in nature, or even just enjoying a delicious meal.
Those are all great ideas. Even small actions can make a big difference in your well-being.
And for more inspiration and guidance on your health and wellness journey, make sure you subscribe to Evo Health 360. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms and follow us on social media at Evo Health 360 for daily tips and motivation.
We're here to support you every step of the way.
Until next time. Be well and keep working towards a healthier, happier you.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Wow, it's amazing how everything connects, isn't it?
It really is.
We've talked about so much today. From mindfulness and movement to the power of connection, purpose, gratitude, and self-compassion. It feels like we've really created a guide for a more fulfilling and resilient life.
You're absolutely right.
And it's important to remember, this is a journey, not a destination. There will always be ups and downs, twists and turns along the way.
That's life.
But by using these strategies and making them a part of our lives,
Yeah,
we can build a foundation for lasting well-being.
I agree.
And it's not about being perfect or having it all figured out.
Right.
It's about progress, not perfection. It's about showing up for ourselves every day, even when it's tough, and making choices that nourish our minds, our bodies, and our souls.
Beautifully said.
And remember, you have the power to create a life that feels vibrant and meaningful. You are worthy of joy, connection, and purpose.
You are.
And even when things are hard, there's always hope.
That's so important to remember.
Hope, resilience, and the belief that we can shape our own well-being.
I love that.
I'm so thankful for this conversation.
Mine too.
And I hope our listeners feel inspired and empowered to take action in their own lives.
It's been a pleasure diving deep into these topics with you, and I'm excited to see what our listeners create on their own journeys.
And for anyone new to our community, be sure to subscribe to Evo Health 360 on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media at Evo Health 360 for daily tips and inspiration.
We're here to support you every step of the way.
Until next time, be well and keep shining your light.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.